All right, how's everyone doing? I'm Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA show. So, what I want to call this podcast is I don't trust anything. Now, of course, that's a little extreme. But my father used to have a funny saying. He never meant it that serious, but he used to say, don't trust anyone, not even your mother, which is kind of funny. But of course, I trust my mother. If you can't trust your mother, who can you trust? But what I'm going to kind of get into today is me always having trust issues with a lot of people, and I still do. Does that mean they're bad people? Absolutely not. A lot of people that I don't trust, I love very much, which may sound crazy, but I do. I think at I think most people throughout their life have had points in their life where they put trust in people that they shouldn't have, but they also were in a position where they couldn't be trusted. Again, I that doesn't mean they're horrible people. No one is perfect. I think for the most part, a lot of people have had to do a lot of things that maybe they regretted, right? Including myself. I am by far not perfect. I couldn't even explain how unperfect I am, but I definitely am somebody who's going to be honest with himself regarding some things I did right and some things I did wrong. Some things I did unknowing and they just didn't turn out right. But I'm definitely not a person that I would say throughout my entire life that you could trust all the time, regarding certain things. Because if I wanted to get something done, I made sure I got it done, no matter how I got it done. But I think me growing up again in the bar nightclub business, being around a lot of people, I saw their behavior and how they were behaving when they were sober compared to when they were drunk. Obviously, it was different. And then also seeing them outside of, say, a bar nightclub, right? And it's not just people that drink or do drugs or whatever that are untrustworthy. That's ridiculous. You know what? I'm going to say one thing. I'm so sick of people boxing people in that if you do this, you're a bad person. You do that. I've had some close friends throughout my life, did coke, did drugs, partied, whatever. I love them. They're wonderful. And a lot of them ended up to be a lot of great family men. I can't even explain it. A lot of my people or a lot of my closest friends, I would say even family members and colleagues, a lot of them that were really screwed up when they were younger, that I wouldn't say were very trustworthy. So, a lot of them are more trustworthy now than a lot of the people that kind of pretended they were very trustworthy or pretended they were a certain way. Aren't that trustworthy? I mean, I'm just being honest with you. It's each individual, right? And just because you do, again, certain things does not make them a bad person. And I also remember being on the other side with my mother, being around a lot of people that were very religious or claimed to be. And the truth was, I didn't trust them any more than the other ones. At least the ones that partied, drank, did all that shit, I knew who they were. I kind of understood where they were coming from. The other ones that were always kind of preaching to me or claiming to be all, I can't say holier than thou or being religious figures and all this, I think we're a lot of full of shitters. I talk about it a lot, and that's not to throw a dig on a lot of people in religion. I talk a lot about it in my book, Wingman, where, they're human beings, especially men. But I should say for the most part, I think my biggest problem with trust is trusting other men. Because I'm a man. I think women can kind of fool me a little more. I have more sympathy towards them. I think I'm a lot more patient with them. And I don't know why. It's just maybe being raised by my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother. Maybe that's why. I don't know. But most men, I just grew up never trusting. And my father really installed a lot of that in me, which I thank him for that, especially maybe regarding men in certain, a position where they could have taken advantage of me. Not only financially, but they could have maybe taken advantage of me physically. I don't know. I kept my distance from everybody because the truth was I didn't trust them. So I may have dodged a million bullets. I really think I did. I honestly do. And I'm very fortunate that way. But I think a lot of people are not. And I think a lot of us end up very gullible. It doesn't mean I didn't get taken advantage of. I'm saying maybe buying a business or doing something in a relationship or someone cheating on me or any of that. Yes, of course, that happened. Let me first go back and clarify that. I did not dodge every bullet from that. What I'm saying as far as me mainly being younger is what I should say and being taken advantage of. Maybe getting in a certain position that I couldn't get out of, right? and also surrounding myself, two, around maybe men or other people that something bad could have happened. Now, anything could have happened to me. When you're a child, you're a child. But even as a child, I was always, and my mother too, stay away. She didn't want anyone near me that she didn't trust either, which was a gift, believe me. But, all right, let's put that aside. The trust situation is, a lot of times you just got to protect yourself. And I think sometimes we think if we come off protecting ourselves, we're coming off as an asshole, or we're coming off like distancing, kind of just saying, hey, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. I don't trust you. And then before you know it, you can't open up to anybody because you put up all these walls. I'm not talking about that, okay? Just so we're clear. You got to do whatever you want to do. But what I am going to say is, you just realizing a lot of times when people are talking to you or pitching to you or whatever, there's a lot of bullshit involved in there, right? I don't care if it's a telemarketer. I don't care if it's a car salesman. I don't care if it's a mortgage broker. I don't care who the hell it is. It could be a religious figure that you may or may not look up to. I don't know. It could be a politician. It could be whoever the hell. Do not put all your trust into that person. I'm just telling you. That doesn't mean you can't work with them and you can't do certain things with them. But if you give all your trust, I believe, into somebody, and you put yourself in a position where they can take advantage of you, especially if you're a grown man or woman, that's on you. Okay? I'm just telling you, you cannot do that, I believe. Of course, again, you can work with whoever you want to work with, but you also have to be smart enough to say, you know what I mean? And this can go for family members, friends, or colleagues. And I've even been on the other side where I have actually didn't even know I was getting involved in. And then before you know it, I'm in a bad spot because of a position that I put them in, and I felt horrible about it. But on the other side, if you are somebody, again, that feels, like you've been taken advantage of, because a lot of us have. I mean, I would say almost anyone I know at one point in their life, has been taken advantage of. Again, it could have been a business endeavor. It could be at work. It could be in a relationship. I get it. That's how we learn. But you got to, at this point in time, you have to really trust your own instincts and protect yourself and your family, especially if you have kids. You got to kind of put up the wall to say, listen, I'm in, but I'm not all in. I believe a lot of times regarding trust. And sometimes if you're going to buy a home, hypothetically, and you got to give up your social security number and you got to do, that's understandable. Hopefully you're being protected there. What I'm more or less really kind of saying is what I should say is maybe getting involved in relationships to a certain degree, or giving too much of yourself or too much information too quickly, and kind of being naive. Especially the elderly, I think we really got to pay attention to them, because I think a lot of times they're being told, it could be from a doctor, it could be from a commercial, I don't care, that, they have to be on certain type of meds, or you have to do this, or, again, back to doctors, getting a second, third opinion. You can't always trust what one person is telling you to be always correct 100%. I don't care who they are. I don't care if you're, you invest in stocks and you got somebody referring certain things to you. Again, if you want to take their advice or go with what they're saying, but you also have to understand, I wouldn't wholeheartedly trust everything they're saying or doing. Most people have their own agenda, and how they get their agenda done is through other people, by usually getting their money or making a percentage off of their money, or by selling a product, all these things. So what's their number one agenda? Is to survive. Your number one agenda is to survive also, but it's also to protect yourself, right? Now, you also may be somebody out there who may be somebody who's not very trustworthy, and you take advantage of people, especially when you see that they're weak. You're a jagoff. I'm just telling you. You shouldn't be doing that to people. And, I get, again, may want to make money, right? You may want a certain lifestyle, but I think anybody that, you got to respect people. It all comes down to respecting people. And, I do want to be somebody who's trusted now. But I also, if people ask me certain things, I have the trust in myself, and hopefully they have the trust in me. What I will say is, I don't know that much information. If somebody comes to me about stocks, hypothetically, I'll say, I'm so sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about. I won't talk shit. I won't mislead them and tell them things I heard. I also won't refer them to people that I don't trust. All this stuff really, a lot of life does come down to trust, right? I mean, it really does. But at the same time, there is a very, very fine line between trusting somebody and being taken advantage from somebody, I believe, right? And it can happen very, very quickly. So I just really wanted to do a podcast on this because I just see so many people being taken advantage of. And it's not even money a lot of times. And it could just be friendships a lot of times. Or you may end up in a position doing something for somebody that you trust that can change or alter your life forever, not for the good. That I could assure you. Now, if you make your own decisions, but a lot of times I think because it's a family member, a friend, or a colleague, we think, I should do this for this person. And instead of it helping you or helping them, a lot of times it goes sideways. And that can happen. But please protect yourself for the love of God and your children. I mean, that's the main thing. I think what people have to really concentrate on. And I don't care if it's a babysitter. I don't care if it's the head of your church. I don't care if it's a sibling or anything. My mother always talks about, she goofs around too and says you can't trust anyone. I get the point, right? It's hard because you never know what, especially an adult's going to do to somebody else when you're not there. But have the trust with your own children to have conversations and listen to them. And also, if you feel something that's shaky in any situation, confront that person or that situation immediately. Don't let it go, along the wayside. Don't pretend like, oh, no, nothing's wrong. No, nip it in the bud. And if it's going to hurt people's feelings, that's the way it goes. All right, I'm just telling you. I don't care if it's money related, friendship related, relationship. If you start, and it's hard, man. It's hard to be in relationships no matter what for long periods of time. I talk about that in my book, Wingman, and even my Mastering Self-Confidence program. Trusting whoever you're with for long periods of time, it is hard, man. They're not always going to maybe make the right decision or the same decision you'd make, and the same on you. A lot of times you probably have not been maybe always as truthful or as trustworthy as you think or wanted to be, and it happens. And I talk a lot about that with cheating because I think for the most part, I really do, most people have cheated on somebody they were with. That doesn't mean they were married to them, but I really do think most people have at one time or another cheated, or they were cheated on, or they were with somebody that was cheating on somebody else. And, it's just part of life. And when the trust is broken, sometimes you can, I think recover from it. Other times you may not be able to. But I will say, to end this, a lot of times people make mistakes. They do. And you're going to have to forgive them. That doesn't mean, again, you're going to allow them to do it again. But really, at the end of the day, nobody's perfect. So I will wrap it up there. If you get a chance, if you want to know about my program or even my book is wingman.com. And then masteringselfconfidence.com is my program where I try to help men find the woman of their dreams, even if they've been through a bad breakup or divorce, or women. I'm also on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And again, I hope I'm not coming off too crazy saying don't trust anybody. Of course, you're going to trust your wife. You're going to trust your kids. You're going to trust your husband. You're going to trust whoever the hell you're with. It's not to be taken literally to the point where you have to not trust anyone. But just be aware, all right? Because usually the ones that fuck you are the ones that are closest to you, okay? All right. Also, if you want, you can check me out on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And, I wish you nothing but the best. If you got any questions or comments, hit me up. Take care.